Hey guys, welcome back. It's time. We have another story of a Pokemon criminal, a Pokemon scammer, a scammy whammy, bo bammy fraudster who is getting in trouble. They're getting in trouble legally, and this is another example that we're looking at that is an international one. People getting tied in. We got some more life lessons, some more Pokemon lessons for people who got involved. It's not for certain that the people that were involved took any part in the actual scam itself. It looks like this individual took advantage of others who were then forwarding it to other people. So, little lesson, especially if you like to. If your Pokemon plugs are on Facebook, you got to be careful because even if they aren't trying to scam you, their supply could be the scam, and then it just kind of gets passed down the line. If you're paying somebody who's going to get the hookup and they don't get the hookup or they get resealed stuff, you could be burned very badly. And again, I know it's always enticing to get a sweet deal, especially if you're buying in quantity, but always a reminder, make sure you're paying for this stuff with a method that protects you, the buyer. And just be careful where you're buying in general. A lot of this stuff, a lot of the recent stuff, I know, well, at least on the Japanese side, people are in a panic. But in general, just know that even it's the same with the grading card middlemen, the middlemen that were middlemaning to other middlemen that were middlemaning to the grading company. When there's multiple middlemen, you got to be careful with all that stuff. They might not even disclose where they're getting this stuff. If they're getting it from somewhere different, it could be that they have a reputation built up for providing the product that you're ordering, and voila, all of a sudden they start getting it from somewhere else because they think they got a sick nasty deal, and they don't get anything, and you don't get anything because they didn't have anything. And chances are, if they're doing business on Facebook exclusively, especially. They don't have the funds to be able to, oopsie doopsie, we lost 50 grand. What do we do? They probably can't just shell that out to save the people that they're providing that stuff from. So with that said, let's go through the article here. We have Singapore jails woman for swindling Pokemon card buyers out of 162,000 USD from Carousel. And again, it's not uncommon to see these fraudsters, and that's the thing, you have to be careful. So not only do you have to be careful that you're not buying directly or getting stuff directly from a scammer, but you got to make sure that the people that you're buying from are getting from a scammer. So take that into consideration. And I think this is just a huge red flag, a huge warning, as we've seen with the Japanese reseals and stuff like that. If you haven't watched that video, I'll put a link down below. You can watch it after this one. But we have a little bit of an added bonus for that. We had Japanese product is being resealed at an alarming rate. But now we also have empty boxes of Pokemon Card 151 that are being sold and purchased on Mercari Japan and other marketplaces. So if you're wondering why people might be buying up these empty boxes, there's a good chance they're going to fill them with something that is in Pokemon card packs, or they're going to be the wrong Pokemon card packs. So be very careful. I know everyone's excited for 151. Be careful. Make sure you're buying it from a reputable place. And if it's even in the least bit not reputable, if there's even a shadow of a doubt, if it isn't directly from the Pokemon Center, essentially you should probably be opening it to make sure that it's not. And you need to pay in a method that allows you to get your money back if it's a worst case scenario, whether that's a credit card so that you can charge back, whether it's PayPal and a credit card so you can charge back or charge back. You need to be able to charge back just in case if you're doing anything even remotely. Same with if you're buying, whether you're buying Japanese or English, anything like that. If it even has the remotest of remote chances of being sketchy and something bad happening, you need to be paying with a method. I know sometimes they don't want to accept that. That's a red flag. All right, so we have Ko Ja Wen. I probably butchered that pronunciation, but I don't care. You're a dirty scammer. 26, admitted to cheating carousel buyers who wanted to pre-order Pokemon cards from her. She also plotted to get new iPhones sets from telecoms firm Singtel by getting someone to sign subscription contracts and did not pay the bills. So again, we got multiple fraudulent activities, and then recently where Pokemon is it's the hot shit. You're gonna have people moving into that. These scammy people that are gonna do phone scams, they're gonna do any kind of other scams. If they see the opportunity there to reseal some Pokemon cards and make some money that way, they're gonna do it. But it's nice to see that even though there was no like international kind of shielding or difficulties here to end up with this individual prosecuted. You're taking advantage of others. I don't feel bad for you. You're going to jail. I'm glad. Good on you. Hopefully you learn your lesson when you get out and you don't do the same. After being told by a woman in Singapore that he would receive a discount on each case of Pokemon cards from his bulk purchase on Carousel, one buyer paid her close to $80,000. 80,000, is that Singaporean dollarinos? US $60,000 in deposits. Another buyer, okay, so the deposit thing as well. I know, think this through for a second. If somebody wants a deposit on something, they can still be scamming you. Even though they're not asking for the full value. It's still free money for them if they never send you anything whatsoever. So be careful with that. There should be no deposits. You don't need deposits. Another buyer consolidated orders from members of the Pokemon TCG Facebook group and paid a deposit sum of $20,840, or Singaporean dollars, which is 15,550 USD. So I think that's the biggest thing here. We just need to stop with this middleman nonsense. Stop with the whatnot nonsense. Stop with the I'm going to fill my living room. I'm going to stack some boxes up against my couch. It needs to kind of go back to why are we buying from anyone other than the main source? And if the main source can't get it, we need to stop encouraging the buying and reselling, the triple flip, the quadruple flip, the multi-flip that's going on here that is raising the prices. And there's no way to ever get anyone to do this because everyone wants everything immediately. They want that instant gratification. But in an ideal world, we would be able to just like, why don't buy from the secondary market on brand new stuff that should be available? And Pokemon just needs to, especially on the Japanese end of things, print enough that you don't have to, that it's not, it doesn't even have to be an option. That's essentially, they need to find that sweet spot, that they don't overprint it to like infinity, that it's just people can't even sell it. The stores can't sell it. The stores that are supposed to be selling it the way that they're supposed to sell it can't sell it. There's a fine line there, but they need to pump it out to the point that it is not enticing for people to buy it all up. That's all it comes down to. Hopefully they find that magic formula sometime soon, especially with the Japanese stuff. I mean, we saw it in 2021 with the English stuff. They needed to increase the print, at least until the Hype Dog 69 super hype died down. And I think we're in a pretty good spot now at this point in time. Both buyers did not get any cards in the end. In terms of English, we're in a pretty good spot. The woman, Kojia Wen, 26, was sentenced to 31 months jail after pleading guilty on Thursday to 4 counts of cheating. Cheater, bow beater. She also plotted to get new iPhone sets from Singtel by getting someone to sign up subscription contracts and did not pay the bills. Well, this as well. It's just like, should it not be a red flag that this individual cannot get their own phones, their own phone plans that they claim that they need? Why would you sign up under your name? That's a terrible idea. That or they're doing something sketchy, and you're taking part and potentially also guilty of something because you're assisting. 13 other similar charges were taken into consideration during sentencing. So clearly this is a repeat offender, a criminal that needs to be punished extremely severely in order to stop doing whatever they're doing here. Because clearly, maybe they weren't punished enough for their previous actions. Now they are. Sometime between 2021 and 2022, Ko used her account for Marketplace Carousel to promote the sale of Pokemon cards, which were typically sold in cases, where each case would hold 6 boxes that contained 36 packs of cards each. When interested, buyers contacted her. She would tell them that the cards had to be pre-ordered and ask them to pay a 50% deposit. Of course. Hopefully those people paid in a method. I would assume that she was only taking like direct money transfers for this stuff. And again, even if someone's selling a bunch, even if they did a good job last time, they can still bone you on the next run. They can still bone you on the next set. Co would direct them to deposit the money into various bank accounts, none of which belonged to her because she had been blacklisted from opening new bank accounts. This is a common thing too. You'll see people making new eBay accounts, people using phone numbers, using stuff like that. If they have to use their girlfriend's phone number, if they have to use their girlfriend's PayPal, their girlfriend's Venmo, or whatever the hell, you should stay the fuck away from them. It's a bad idea. There's a reason why they can't have their own, and why they don't have their own. I see this all the time with the people are like, oh, I got scammed by so-and-so, and I had to send money to their wife's PayPal account or their wife's Venmo. Yeah, that's when you should have said, no thanks, not doing it. Bad idea. Investigations revealed that Co was not allowed to open any new bank accounts with United Overseas Bank, UOB, OCBC, and DBS without further clearance. Deputy Public Prosecutor Shante said there were no further details on why this was so. So if you can't tell, my Asian name pronunciations not the greatest. Singaporean names. The bank accounts Co used for the buyers belonged to friends and acquaintances who would withdraw the transferred money after the transactions and hand it to her. So there you go. We got some bad signs here. So the friends and acquaintances that are getting involved with this, they probably know that she's done some sketchy stuff in the past, and trying to help somebody who clearly isn't able to do that themselves because they're restricted, because they've been scamming and damning. For one buyer, for instance, he pre-ordered 74 cases from Co in 2021 and transferred $62,100 USD to her designated bank accounts. Holy crap. Co only delivered 10 of these 74 cases and gave a variety of excuses as to why the rest could not be delivered. Wow. Yeah, that's way off. So again, I guess this was back more during the hype and dipe. So I'm sure we'll see a lot of this similar situations going on, and hopefully all the people that are resealing and scamming people with the Japanese boxes currently all get prosecuted in a very similar way. I hope they all go to jail. I hope they're all fined immensely. I hope any amount of money or assets that they have that they accumulated from scamming people like that are all seized, all taken back, and some of it can at least go back to the people that were scammed. But at the very least, put them in jail. Put them in jail. Do whatever you got to do to show the other scammy whammies that you can't be doing this, that it's a bad idea, and you're going to end up behind bars. That's kind of what it comes down to. Co only delivered 10 of these 74 cases and gave a variety of excuses as to why the rest could not be delivered. In the months until her arrest on July 7th last year, Co went on to receive more deposits for the fake bulk pre-order of Pokemon cards from two interested buyers, Tanwei Chan and Raichua. Tan paid her 79,675 Singaporean dollarinos from February to May last year. One of the bank accounts used for the transaction allegedly belonged to an acquaintance named Patrick Lin Hongjin, who Co had permitted to keep some of the money that Tan transferred. Of course. And you gotta be careful with this too. If you know somebody's doing some sketchy stuff and you assist them in doing the sketchy stuff, you can get yourself some spanks on the wrist as well. Some criminal record, some jail time, who knows? Depending on how involved you are, depending on how they prosecute that. If you know somebody's doing something sketchy, it's the same thing with purchasing stolen goods, knowingly purchasing stolen goods. I try to tell this to people all the time. If you even if you got it in, you let's say you got somebody that works at the print facility, you know them, you got somebody that works at a store or something like that, and they're stealing stuff and you're selling it for them, you're going to get yourself in trouble. Court documents did not state if this acquaintance would be facing charges for his role in the scheme. So interesting. We'd like to know that. I'd also like to know what the punishments were prior to this on the other 13 incidences of fraudulent activity that they brought up earlier. Cha, who was initially only interested in buying 1 or 2 cases for himself, ended up taking orders for members of the Pokemon TCG Facebook group and made a total transfer of 20,840 Singaporeans to the accounts provided by Co. So here you have it. This is what I was talking about earlier, why I'm saying you got to be careful that even if the person that is selling to you isn't a scammer, if they're getting scammed, you're on the receiving end of the scam. That's how it works, right? Also, it's not tea, it's coffee. I don't drink tea. He later filed a police report when the Pokemon cards were not delivered. Good plan, but also I'm assuming that there is probably a payment method was probably used that they did not have the ability to get the funds back. As for the iPhones, the court heard that sometime in 2017, Co got acquainted with Tor Yume through an online streaming platform called Bigo, before meeting in person. Before October 21st in 2020, Co asked Tor to sign up for mobile services for her, claiming that she needed them for work and she would pay for the monthly bills. Tor agreed and signed 2 24-month contracts with Singtel for mobile phone lines. Co then chose an Apple iPhone 11 Pro Max 512GB valued at $1,750 US dollarinos and an Apple iPhone 11 Pro 256GB valued at I guess they don't have, we just have Singapore dollars here, 1,000 USD plus, yeah, something like that, for each contract, and paid the balance for the mobile phones. Court documents did not state how much this balance was for the phones. I mean, regardless of what the balance is, clearly there's a trend here, a scamming trend, a fraud trend. Later, Tor started receiving bills from Singtel and incurred about 2,070 USD for both contracts that were left unpaid. No other information was given as to how long the bills had been left unpaid. DPP Tay said that in doing this, Co had instigated Tor to deceive Singtel by dishonestly subscribing to its mobile service and inducing the delivery of the Apple iPhones as part of the contract. Yeah, I mean, it's a huge red flag. Why is there still videos and stuff about crazy old men with a bicycle full of phones playing Pokemon Go? Is that a new thing? Are we still doing that? Are we still covering that? What does it take? How crazy do you need to be? And hopefully he is. Those are his own phones or something. Like, we've seen this before. It's just like, we get it. You have a million phones. When asked by the judge whether Tor will be charged, DPP Tay said a decision will be made after the conclusion of Co's case. In April last year, Co made restitution of $4,800 US dollars for the Singtel bills she owed, seeking 26 to 29 months jail for Co. Defense lawyer Azri Imran Tan urged the court to consider the lighter sentence, saying that Co was still a relatively young adult whose husband just had a major surgery and they have an infant daughter. Well, you know what? You should have thought of that husband that had surgery and that infant daughter before you ripped off a bunch of people. I don't know if it has anything to do with medical bills. I don't know if it's like, I was stealing from my child. I absolutely hate when people use kids for an excuse, like to claim that they're a good person when they're scamming people, to claim that they did crimes because they wanted to look after their children. Surely there was some way that you could have been doing something legitimately to make some money. Would it have been free tendies? No, probably not. But you wouldn't be going to jail. You deserve to be going to jail. I feel bad for your daughter. She doesn't deserve that. You're a terrible mother. That's it. In delivering her sentence, District Judge Janet Wang said that the harm from Co's criminal conduct was significant and she had not only orchestrated the scam, but also recruited others in some of these offenses. Not to mention the backstory, the 13. I want to know what the 13 other scammy whammies were. The scale of offending was also extensive, and it was particularly troubling that she had escalated her criminal conduct since the time of her previous probation for theft and cheating. There you go. For cheating, Co could have been jailed up to 10 years and fined. So I don't know. Maybe it's like a klepto thing, except you're addicted to scamming people. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's unacceptable. You can't just steal from people. There's no excuse for it. I don't give a shit how much you need the money, how much you think you need the money, how much you don't want to do honest work. You don't need to be ripping people off. Unacceptable. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Again, I'll leave a link down below if you guys want to check out the recent video on the resealed scams in Japan. Be very careful out there, whether it's English, whether it's Japanese. Your plugs, make sure you just buy from somewhere that's an official source. Buy your English stuff from PSA Pikachu. I would hold off on the Japanese 151 or any of the other modern products that they're supposed to be reprinting. I think those are going to happen. I think the reprints, I think the Japanese market is, I don't want to predict the future here, but if it keeps going the way that it's going, I can't imagine people keeping interest in it, at least the vast majority. When it's bad enough when stuff is triple what the price that it should be, and that it maybe will be when they reprint, but also when there's a large chance that you're getting scammed. Try to buy it from the Pokemon Center if you can. Try to buy it from the direct Amazon if you can. You can take a little bit of a risk and go with the Amazon sellers, which is, I think, probably the best route, the most accessible route outside of those the lotteries to get it from the Pokemon Center or the Amazon lottery. But if you can't, you're playing with fire with any of the other platforms. It seems like there's so many reseals right now that it's bad news bears. So you can learn more about that down below. It'll be at the top of the description. You guys take care of each other out there. Hopefully this stuff kind of quenches itself. There's always going to be scammers. We're always going to be here making videos about them, but hopefully it can get to the point that enough of them are punished that it's not worth it. They see the repercussions for their actions. It's not just cardboard. You're stealing money from people. You deserve to get fucked. All right. See you guys next time. Join the Discord. Bye.